Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody, for the week of August 10th. I'm Ryan Miller, and he's Matt Amber.
Right to it.
To the point. If I don't, I get complaints. People write in.
Really?
They don't. I'm just messing around. Yeah, no.
I was going to
throwing you for a loop already.
I was going to be super excited.
They Twitter. That's what I mean. They don't write in. They Twitter. They type in.
Ugh, and that's the worst. Using your hands, it's like a baby's toy.
Much like Truman Capote remarked at Jack Kerouac's On the Road. That's not writing. It's typing.
We are getting very highbrow here. Keeping it lowbrow with the brow up high.
On Book Club for Movies, where we watch one movie a week, which is untrue, and ask you to do the same and come talk with us about it, which is true.
That's a true fact. It's a come chat situation.
It's a true fact.
It's a fireside chat. What we want to do. We want to do what we call in the IT biz a town hall, if you will.
Oh, very nice. I haven't been to one of those for, let's say, since March.
Oh. And it was that town hall where you like grinding the rails because it's a dope skate park.
Oh, dude, you know it.
Yeah, what's
up? I was like,
you're like
meeting over, bro.
and then everybody that came out, you were like, do a kickflip. Actually, I'm gonna go to a town hall, and that's gonna when they open up the floor for questions, I'm just going to step up and say, hello, my name is Matthew Amberg. I'm a resident here in Colorado, and I would like you to do a kickflip. Do a kickflip, and then I'm gonna
see. I thought you were gonna jam him. I thought you were gonna be like, "You've been jammed."
I would love to jam the government.
Hey, I've got a surprise for you.
Oh yeah,
already jammed.
Yeah,
jammed way up. Politics. This is the type of exciting discussion you can expect from us this and every week
on the discourse,
but especially this week when we do the Man of Tai Chi.
Mm-hmm.
And for this man, we have a Matt. And Matt, do you have a synopsis?
I do. I am not a Man of Tai Chi, though. I want to be very clear of that.
Yeah.
It's just an exercise thing, okay? I just don't believe it can be anything else.
Oh, what?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Man of Tai Chi. Going to come at you an hour and 45 minutes. Written by Michael G. Cooney. Directed by Keanu Reeves.
What?
Starring Tiger Hu Chen, Keanu Reeves, Karen Moak,
Okay.
Hey You, King Yi, Simon Yam, and the always delightful Iko Uwais. I just like saying Iko.
You should.
Okay, here is your book club for movies synopsis for The Man of Tai Chi. Tiger Chen is a gifted martial artist focused on showing the world that Tai Chi is much more than pure exercise. When an opportunity arises for him to make a bit of money in an underground fight which could save his family's temple, Tiger begins a slow spiral where cash and violent venting of frustrations cloud his original vision. Tiger will need all his Tai Chi knowledge and then some to get out of the hole he's created for himself and his family.
Tiger
uppercut. He definitely does Tiger uppercut once.
I did misspell this movie at some point, THAI, which would have made more because he's from the Street Fighter.
Yeah. Also, if it was called Man of Tai Chi, it would have been a very different thing. It would have been like a different chi situation. He's like, hey, he's a man from Thailand, and he's talking about his chi. It's a man of Tai Chi. He's like, I've got all this Tai Chi in me, and I am a man of Tai Chi, and I am
that follows
probably from Thailand is my guess.
Okay,
but
it's not. It's TAI. So,
or it could be a totally different thing where like somebody goes to Thailand and they become a man of Tai Chi.
No, I didn't follow.
There are so many different directions we can go with Man of Tai Chi when it's not spelled Tai Chi.
And yet they stuck with TAI. So
yeah, it's exercise though. TA exercise.
In honor of the correct spelling of Tai Chi, I went about trying to find as much information as I could on this thing. I'd never seen it before. You had seen it, let me guess, rounding out one time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I just intuited that. We're on that level.
It's really good. I want you to know that I forgot Keanu Reeves is in this movie more than I remembered him being. I could have sworn he was only in the movie for like 2 minutes, but no.
But it's not a starring role. Yeah, no. Yeah. You're not necessarily going to see a Keanu Reeves movie, even though more of him might be in this as director and starring.
I mean, technically, because he directed it, you're seeing exactly a Keanu Reeves movie.
Yes.
See, now I've won all of the battles. My linguistic discussion levels are at an all-time something today.
But there's not a ton out there on this, and my bet is that it's because, I mean, a lot of the stuff you're going to look up, a lot of stuff that Wikipedia surfaces, in fact, is taken, just look at the sources at the bottom, from different interviews and, you know, obviously press tours when movies come out and stuff like that. So my guess is that the reason there's not much on this is because Keanu doesn't offer up a ton. I love when I get the random Keanu interview just because I think he always has interesting stuff to say and in an interesting manner.
When he says anything.
But yes, but that's the thing. Yeah. So I feel like the lack of information on this might just be because Keanu himself doesn't give a lot of information. Like there was one article that I could find entitled Keanu Reeves spent 5 years on his latest film. Why? From the Christian Science Monitor, of all places. And it goes, it's a freaking short article anyways. Like it might as well be a puff piece, but it talks about the whole thing and then has one quote from actual Keanu at the very bottom that says, "I loved the responsibility of telling a story. I hope I get the chance to do it again."
Well, you know, I think that says everything you could possibly say about the film. That he made a perfect film.
Yeah, one and done.
Just like he is a perfect human being.
The other reason why there might not be that much is because I think I discerned the most important thing.
Oh, well, let's skip the whole show and just talk about this thing.
From what I can tell, Keanu befriended one of his stunt doubles from The Matrix, Mr. Tiger, which
Tiger Hu Chen.
For a second there, I thought I had mistakenly given his character name as his real name last week, but no, it's just he's Tiger in the film, and he's also Tiger in real life.
He is. He's Tiger Chen all over the place.
So Keanu befriended Tiger on the set of The Matrix.
Tiger.
And then they went out and made this movie, making it essentially Keanu's Cannonball Run.
You've made me love it even more now. Who's the Burt Reynolds?
Arguably, well, Keanu, but arguably also a better title, Keanu's Cannonball Run.
Man of I don't know. Keanu's Cannonball Run is a pretty good title. I would see that.
Right?
You could name this movie Keanu's Cannonball Run, and I'm in.
But still, they spelled it T-A-I. So
he's in such a weird role in this movie too.
No, dude, I couldn't think.
He plays totally against type in this movie. I think he was a serial killer or something in one movie.
Oh, like was he?
1,000 years ago, I think.
That was going to be my next question because I haven't seen all of his stuff, but I literally cannot remember another one where he's even the bad guy.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. He's a pretty good guy overall, I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't even want to talk about him being a bad guy in movies because I just feel like that's wrong.
It's not appropriate. No.
It's very, very inappropriate.
So a couple of Keanu fans in the room, no secret there. It's definitely fun seeing him play his part. I think I want to come back to this being his, I think, directorial debut, but also I'm pretty sure he hasn't directed anything since.
Yes.
He did this about the same time as the documentary that I now have queued up that I forgot existed, but I don't think he directed that either. Nope. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
And it's a very good movie, I would say.
All right.
I almost feel like I had to do most of the work though. Okay, no, that's not fair.
All right.
I think a large part of this movie and what makes this movie very good as opposed to just fun or good is subtext. It's when I say I had to do the work, like, and stick around. Okay, let's go way back. Let's go way, way, way back.
Okay.
Maybe my first class of Film 101. Oh, dang, I wish I could remember my teacher's name. But she got up and did kind of a quick rundown of, I think, Sabotage. It might have just been North by Northwest. It was a Hitchcock film. And it was just a quick once-over. She was like, he did this with the camera for this reason. Like I said, total Film 101. Like, this is what you're in store for, because a lot of people take these classes also to figure out if they want this to be their major or whatever. So,
yeah,
very bottom-level stuff. And dude raises his hand and I think probably said what a lot of people in the room were thinking. And I forget what it was exactly, but it essentially amounted to, how much do you think of that was really on purpose though?
Right.
How much was he actually trying to communicate something with the framing of that scene?
Sure.
Disbelievingly, which, I'm not going to lie, I was halfway there with him because she got pretty specific, even though, again, it was just a quick once-over. She got specific about why he would have done something for some reason, something like that. So I was like, yeah, okay. And her response still rings in my head, was basically that, hey, if that's your question or your concern, you might be in for a pretty long ride. Both just in that class and generally speaking when it comes to film. So I'm going to get into the weeds with this movie. And while I think it's not unintended from Keanu and, the people who worked on this thing, I feel like I had to do some of the work here to get at that subtext and make this movie more than just good or fun. And by the end, like I said, I think it's very good. I don't know if it's great, but it's very good.
Okay.
For that reason.
All
okay.
right.
Yeah. Great wind up, right?
No, I can't wait for you to knock this out of the park. I'm like, I got to hold on for a second. I got to go prep myself real quick. I
don't know where he's actually going, but the dog has made it into the room. He's ushering the dog outside of the room. I can't see the dog. And he's back. How's Dot doing?
Dot's good. She had to go in the other room. She's my favorite.
What a bad dog. Just kidding.
What? You son of a...
Okay, so the Man of Tai Chi.
You must have a lot to say on this.
It's really not as bad as I make it out to be, probably, but it's not an easy thing to note out and make sure that I don't... I mean, I'm going to sound stupid. That's the wrong way to put that, but... to make sure I at least say it in order. So, hey, what about the order of occurrences in this movie? Mr. Tiger is a man of Tai Chi already, being instructed by a greater man of Tai Chi, kind of a classic, older-looking...
Tai Chi master, you could
Yes,
say.
Tai Chi, man of Tai Chi. How many times are we going to say that during this?
I hope a lot.
And then a man of Tai Chi comes in and is like, hey, do you want to fight for money? And he says no. But then the temple,
other man of Tai Chi,
a man of Tai Chi walks in and is like, "Hey, we're gonna take away your temple." He's like,
"How many men of Tai Chi does it take to take away your temple?"
So then okay. Sorry. So they're going to take away the temple. He needs money to save the temple. So he goes back on saying no to Keanu and says, okay, I'll do it. And Keanu has set up this underground fighting ring.
Which, by the way, I want to be clear. When Ryan is cruising through this part, like, that's kind of how quickly it goes. It's like there's...
actually, no. I mean, it takes its time. This is still first act.
You're
like 30 minutes.
You're opened up into the movie with a blood sport, essentially two dudes fighting it to the death.
True.
And then we see a masked man come out and murder the guy because the other dude won't kill him. Then the masked guy is Keanu. Keanu kills that guy, and then there's a cop thing. And this is the whole movie. The whole movie is actually supposed to be this, like, it's got this underlying cop thing going on for it that you don't really care about.
No,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I liked her. But like, there's supposed to be like this whole police thread where this woman has been kicked off of the case because the guy that she was going to work with to get Keanu Reeves and all of his underground fighting people is the fighter who wouldn't do the murder at the beginning and gets killed. And the police chief is like, too bad, so sad. We're not doing this anymore. Do something else.
Case closed.
Right. And so we're supposed to think, okay, he's very corrupt. Everybody's corrupt. She's the only good cop. But it's such a weird thread that it's really, truly only there to wrap up. In my eyes, anyways, it only wraps up like one little thing. And it was something it introduced, which is the crooked cop. That's totally unnecessary, but...
It's perfunctory. Yeah, no. Early on in the film,
perfunctory is the good word.
I was like, this is the weakest part. Like, I think there was a reason why.
I just don't.
And again,
I think this movie doesn't lose anything if that's taken away. Let me put it that way.
Well, no, because I also think the movie gives it the appropriate amount of weight. The movie itself knows what we are saying right now. I feel like it's like, you know what? This isn't really important. This is like. This needs to be here because it is in movies like this, but I think it does do more with it than that. We'll get there.
Okay.
It is just there, even though I do like the people involved. Well, her partner, I could take her leave. The boss, I could almost take her leave.
It's really just her. She's Karen Moak is the only one that matters in that situation.
She's the only person that matters to me
ever.
So he accepts the challenge, and we should mention also that he's concurrently an actual accomplished martial artist. Like, he goes to competitions, and he's
which his
winning.
teacher is not a fan of in the first place. Doesn't want him.
Is he not a fan of the competitions?
He's not a fan
of
any of it. As far as my read on the thing was that and Tiger says it. He mentions that he's trying to get the world to understand that Tai Chi is more than just exercise.
Right.
Whereas even his master, his father, doesn't think of it as just exercise. It's clearly more like it's clearly a deeper thing for him, but he also doesn't see the point in or seems to enjoy the idea of using it in a offensive way along with specifically doing it in tournaments. He doesn't think that's the thing for it, but
which right off the bat I love that they made it about the art form like very, very quickly on. Like,
I'm so glad that we didn't have to waste time meeting somebody who doesn't know how to do it. Like, we're introduced.
Sure,
you're introduced
true, actually,
to he like Tiger walks in and meets the master, and then they start doing this. I don't want to call it I don't know what it's called. It's not kata, but it's kind of like a dance where they're doing the moves fluidly together.
They're pushing and pulling off of each other. They're using each other's, and this is something that appears in the Ip Man movies as well, also, because I guess I forget if it's first or second form, but there's a clip in the trailer for Master Z, I believe, where Michelle Yeoh, I mean, in the movie, I don't know who's actually doing it, and Donnie Yen, or no, I'm sorry, Max Zhang, who's the lead in Master Z, are pushing a whiskey glass back and forth against each other.
Right, and they're doing it like really smoothly, and it's really weird. It's crazy
and it's cool.
To watch.
Like,
no, it's cool.
Again, Wu Ping is the action director for this one. Yes, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and this is also, by the way, is a great setup for the character of Tiger, because we're introduced to him in this like calm environment, and the master is constantly telling him to slow down. He has to slow down. He's always going fast.
Yeah. So the competing philosophies within Tai Chi between the master and Tiger is Tiger's all about power. He wants to show the world that there is power in Tai Chi, and the master is like, that's not the end all. That's not really the purpose. Like, I get it. Yes, it is more than exercise. Look what we're doing. We're both accomplished, all this type of stuff. But yeah, he has to tell Tiger repeatedly to slow down. It's not about speed. It's not about power, all this stuff. So yeah, it's cool. I like that they've made the form front and center from the beginning. And you're right. It's not like he has to learn it.
This is just nice, because sometimes it can get a little tiring with okay, we're going to go through a montage of this guy learning things, and now he's amazing. As opposed to we're introduced to him already being incredibly well-versed. He's just waiting. He's just not even waiting. He's trying to push himself to the next level. The level he's pushing himself to is not necessarily the direction that Master Yang wants him to push him to.
Right. So upon accepting Keanu's invitation to join the underground fighting ring, this philosophy of his is kind of encouraged, right? He leans more into the power aspect of things. Keanu is encouraging him with each and every fight to be more powerful, more aggressive, until finally he throws one of the guys through the observatory glass. That is because the fights mostly take place in this room, the place where he first had his fight, where he's just looking in the mirror, and all of a sudden Keanu comes in over the loudspeaker and says, "Fight!" and some dude's behind him, attacking him out of nowhere. It's a pretty good scene.
And then it's awesome because when it does happen again, I think there's 2 more fights in that room. Now you know what to expect, and you see him change with the fights. Like, it's super interesting to see his mental acuity change with the fights.
Well, yeah, and his aggressiveness. Yeah, like that next fight that we get in that room that I think is important is where he throws the guy through the glass and realizes that there are people behind that glass, that mirror, that have been observing the whole time. And there's a kind of an annoying dude in the movie, whatever. He's a total, I don't know.
The camera
like
guy?
YouTube bro or something. Yeah, the camera bro.
I love that guy. I think he's funny as hell.
He's funny, but I think he's meant to be annoying. Yeah. So he annoys a little bit. I don't know. It comes out and was like, oh man, the crowd loves you. Like, and he's like, you're broadcasting this stuff. He's like, yeah, are you kidding? Like overseas, they think you're the best, all this stuff. We don't quite get the extent. We'll get that later on, but Tiger doesn't necessarily embrace it, but doesn't shy away from it. So yeah,
he was definitely unhappy about it. He definitely gets a little offended by it, is a little PO'd, but he doesn't.
But he doesn't
fight. He doesn't stop. Yeah, exactly. He kind of just accepts it and moves on.
Yes, gradually he's becoming this person until finally, I forget what comes right before. Oh no, I don't actually.
What comes right before the breaking point is literally the breaking point during the championship.
Actually, I know what, we'll get there, and then I will go back to really get into the weeds. But yes, so he goes back to the office where the girl is like, no, because he's got a girl that he likes that works in what would that be? The zoning office? I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, we can get around them trying to steal your temple by making it a heritage site or something because it's 600 years old or something like that. So that gets rejected. Oh no, actually it gets rejected after he loses it in the actual competition because
correct. That's why it gets rejected. It's straight up rejected because he's to the point now where Keanu has pushed him so hard and gotten him so truly full of himself that the first couple of times we see him, I think we've seen him twice at this point in the competition itself, and both times we see him take the competition seriously. He's respectful of the person he's fighting. He's respectful of the concept of the competition and all that. And in this case, he immediately walks out and just like wallops the dude. Like there is no respect for the competition.
Dislocates his shoulder, leg, or arm or something.
And then he eventually breaks his knee or something. He does something real nasty to his leg.
Yeah.
Which
it does something real nasty to his leg,
which gets him disqualified from the if you're not in a competition, man, fight dirty, because it can mean a lot of different things too. Yeah. But that gets him disqualified from the competition, and almost immediately after that leads him to finding out that they were declined the heritage status, which then leads to him getting so frustrated and mad. The only thing he can think to do is take it out on somebody else.
Yeah, well, he calls, and we will come back to this moment where he gets rejected. Did you notice anything funky about that area of the film? Okay, cool. Just want to make sure that I can annoy you too at the same time.
No.
He calls Keanu up right after that, and he's like, give me a fight. And that's when Keanu utters probably the line of the film.
A fight you shall get.
So Keanu.
It's extreme Keanu.
How many times while directing did he say, listen, I know Kung Fu?
I know.
0, right? Okay.
Wu Ping, I know you, and I know Kung Fu. This is not good.
We love him so much. So everything goes off the rails at that point. Tiger's kicking everybody's butt to Kingdom Come, and is it that his master... Oh no, his master sees
him break the guy's leg or whatever it is at the competition, and that's where
he returns to him shortly thereafter, and they have their own face-off.
That's where they have their face-off, and then that's where when he goes and gets the fight is right after that, isn't it?
Which I don't want to brush past the face-off, and I've been using this term a lot lately, but I think it's pretty instructive. I like it. To me, that's the centerpiece of this movie.
Yes.
Maybe I just liked it the most, but he goes to confront his master, and his master knows it's coming, and he's ready for it. And they are, instead of training, because most of it is, that kind of cool where they're working off of each other's stuff.
Like flow, like the push-pull
Yes, flow. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But this time they are going at it against each other. And not only do they do a great job of, because there are 2 fights where the person he is fighting is obviously not as skilled as himself, Tiger. One of them is with his master, who is a pretty old dude. And the other is with Keanu himself. Not that old, but not as quick as Tiger.
Couple 100 years old.
So the fact that they made this fight look so believable and cool, I think actually speaks both to the direction, but also to the form. I think they took the strengths of that form. Because, a lot of it was just him deflecting in these really... Like, if you haven't seen anybody do Tai Chi, it's kind of weird at this point because it hit. I didn't look any of this up, but it got huge at some point, right? Like all the soccer moms were doing it.
Oh yeah. It was like the mid 90s. Yeah.
Which is part of what this is a reaction against. But it's basically, you can see that they're in that, and it's still this compelling, like super cool fight against the two of them.
Yeah.
And again, he is promoting control and Tiger's promoting power, and by the end he does this, and I'm going to ask you about this specifically too, this move that just kind of results in a gust of wind that Tiger doesn't immediately feel, but does push him back, and the fight kind of ends there.
Not a gust of wind, man.
It's chi. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Come on.
It looks cinematically, it is a gust
Come
of
on,
wind.
it's chi.
But then when he's leaving, he doubles over like, oh man, what did you do to me? Like he's all messed up.
And he throws up. He spits up. He kind of vomits up some
chi,
like water or chi, like bile and stuff in his stomach.
And okay, I want to ask something about that, but I don't know if we save it until the next time it happens at the end of the film, or.
Well, you just gave it all away.
Oh.
That's how you spoiler things, everybody, without even thinking about it.
Yeah, we ruin all these movies. We forget
it's the
to say
Street Fighter. It's the Street Fighter situation. It's the fireball, right? That's essentially what he's doing. The fireball without the fireball.
That's going to be my question. Yeah, because it's the one part in the film that's essentially supernatural. And while I myself love that kind of stuff, especially, I think it's pretty understated here. He doesn't actually shoot fire out of his hands or anything like that. It's not Mortal Kombat where you wait the whole movie to see the actual fireball from.
All right. Well, number one, you waited the entire Street Fighter movie to see it from Ken or Ryu. You said Mortal Kombat, but you waited for either Ken or Ryu, and then when you did see it, he didn't even really do anything. You see a flash of light. He does the move, but it's like on top of somebody, and it goes bing, and you never see the actual fireball or anything. Sure. It's still one of the most annoying things.
My point being, you don't get any of that. You just get, it's just a gust of wind, but it is obviously a little supernatural. Like, were you cool with that? How did you feel about
because while a mass majority of the fight scenes were just kind of actually like way less wire work than Crouching Tiger than Matrix, there's still wire work in here, and it's good. It's really good. I think that the kind of chi ball thing fits.
Chi ball.
It fits. I think it works on a couple of different levels. It's obviously a manifestation and realization of everything that he has, and he's taking it and like all of it. Like the way I read that scene is he is taking everything that he has and realizing that Master Yang was right the whole time, and that he needs to just kind of slow it all down. And in doing so, he also needs to expel all of the things that made him have to fight Keanu, which is why it's so much more powerful than when Master Yang did it, who also, I have zero doubt, pulled that punch. Like, I think there's also supposed to be a point there where Master Yang is showing him something and proving to Tiger, you don't know nearly as much as you think you do.
Right. Yeah.
And this is Tiger's way of accepting it, understanding it, and then basically it's all the pent up guilt that I now have because you've pushed me into this. I'm going to throw it back on you. And it's what ultimately kills Keanu.
Which is smart because you, like, speaking of feelings, pent up guilt and stuff like that, I think what people most, and maybe I am doing this wrong, but popularly attribute chi to be is that type of stuff. Like this, I'm definitely going to butcher this kind of amalgamation of your feelings,
various
and center
energies.
And so energies. Yeah, there you go. Again, probably wrong.
No, I honestly, I don't think you'd be wrong on that. I think that most people.
Maybe I'm not that far off at best.
No, I'm not saying I don't know that you're right about what it is, but I think that you're correct in that a lot of people think that's what it is because they've seen movies where Patrick Swayze is like Bodhi from Point Break.
Oh man, we can't go down the Point Break hole. There was one while researching some of this.
Lori Petty.
Because anytime you get Keanu in the chair, you do ask him about the other things, which are Bill and Ted. Like most of the Man of Tai Chi stuff I found was him talking about it while he was talking about something else, and so it also included somebody asking him about Point Break or Bill and Ted or all this stuff.
Yeah.
We can't. There's too much.
Okay. Well, fine.
And let's come back to the final battle, even though I asked the question.
Sure. It's a good... I actually love the sequence, too. The final battle where...
No, I didn't mean right now. I meant
okay.
At the
great.
end.
Never mind. I was excited to talk about Iko Uwe, but...
Yes, it's Iko. No, well, that's not quite... Okay. So...
No, well, but yes. Oh.
Things escalate until he refuses to take part in any of it anymore, which Keanu doesn't accept. And we have the reenactment of the opening scene of the movie where Keanu says, finish him. He won't, he's there with his fist up and he decides he won't. So Keanu comes out in the mask and twists the guy's neck and does it for him. The whole time, maybe we talk about this first. Keanu as a bad guy is very invested in seeing Tiger become a killer. That's his thing. That's his motivation. Like, yes, he's this kind of all-seeing, and we'll come back to cameras shortly also, but this all-seeing god, essentially, who's pretty much just running a YouTube channel, it seems like, that only cares about whether or not Tiger has it in him. And he said it multiple times, I know he's got it in him. I know he's a killer. In fact, I believe that's his last line in the movie.
Yep.
How did you feel about Keanu as a bad guy? I know we talked about it being rare, but just in general in this movie, you like it? You pull it off?
I think for the most part he does. I think that the where I had issues with him are probably honestly directorial, and I think that I think that might come off as like maybe it's just line delivery on a couple things that are like, that is far too Keanu for me in this case. Like, if that, like, you know what I mean?
So the fact that he didn't have himself to tell himself, can we do that one again?
It's that he didn't have somebody else to tell him that. That's the thing. It's like, I like, and I don't know if he watched it and was like, it's good. It's fun. Again, it's nothing ever pulls me out of this. It's just kind of, there are moments though where I'm like, that's Keanu extreme. And it's, you wonder, does the actor who's directing himself have a combination of that was good and also I have a very limited budget here, I don't have a lot of time. But overall I thought he was all right. He was good. He was fun.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, and we've talked about this before. Keanu is very smart about choosing his roles. He's chosen roles that seem tailor-made to him, not just Bill and Ted, not just Surfer Dude, Point Break, Neo, and maybe this is what he brings to a role, but I think he did the same thing here. Like, he is basically Keanu Reeves, the bad guy. Like, he even does a lot of the same stuff. Like, he meditates. He's Keanu. He's just evil this time.
Which is funny because there's a movie that came out.
He meditates evilly.
The last thing I saw him in where he played against type, he was that weird movie with Randall Park in it and Ali Wong, Always Be My Maybe.
Oh, that's right.
And he plays he totally does the, like, this is...
I watched all his scenes. I haven't seen the movie, but I believe I watched all his scenes.
It's this is the end version of Keanu Reeves, where they've taken him and they're like, we're going to take you, you're going to be Keanu, but you're going to be spun to, like, the nth degree, the extreme, most, like, biggest douche version that anybody can think of you. This is toned down more than that. but on the same token, it is fun to see when Keanu does play against type, and this one, he had some good moments. Like the end fight, that whole end sequence with him going, like, talking to Tiger, and that fight, all that was really good stuff. Like, I believed he really, really hated that guy.
Yeah, no. So in the story, he does refuse to fight. He gets paired up with Iko Uwais, who he says, no, I'm not going to fight you, which honestly, I would do the same thing. I would refuse to fight him.
Which, that is also a really great sequence, because they have this, like, we're at the point now where we kind of understand how widespread this is, that this is not just... Oh,
you're right. I've glossed over... Yeah, okay. I screwed up my own thing.
Where we're finding out that Keanu Reeves is not just... It's like, it's a private YouTube, and it is rich people, including, who we'll find out, because we've got to wrap up that cop thread, the superintendent.
Yeah, he was dirty. He was part of the whole thing. No, I totally skipped past the thing that's going to help me embarrass myself.
Oh, great.
We get to the full extent of what has been happening with this. And it's not just that overseas they like watching him fight. It's that Keanu has he's basically Truman showed him all the way through this thing. Like they show this quick video, this trailer to this final fight before Iko Uwais that is called The Man of Tai Chi, and it basically has your announcer voice from the synopsis to these shows,
Nemesis,
basically narrating the entire movie, not just the fact that he's fighting, like the part where he's trying to earn money for the temple. Like it's all in there essentially, and it's horrible too. Like it's a really bad.
It's hilariously great.
It's hilariously bad.
Yeah,
but it's the A plot to this movie.
Yep.
I mean, I guess there could be an argument. Again, maybe I'm making the argument that it's not necessarily the A plot, but on its surface, ostensibly, is the A plot to this entire film.
Right. And I think the one thing that I want to call out is I think this is also the same thing that was going on with the other guy, the guy that gets killed at the beginning. He just didn't quite get as far.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, the assumption being that it goes on with all the fighters. Yeah.
Because he keeps referring to them as the contestants or something, I think, at the beginning. So that's where this is all coming from. It seems like Tiger, though, is the one that, like, that's going to be his guy. He's the champion, who we find out is, I'm guessing, that, because I don't think they ever really clarify it, but my guess is that Iko Uwe is the one he was the last one to succeed and go all the way through, and he's the champion, and so now everybody has to get to him, and that's the thing. That's the only thing that made sense with that character to me.
Sure, makes sense. But this is the thing. Inside that video, and I mentioned the cameras and Keanu being kind of this all-seeing God.
Inside of the temple.
Yes, right, exactly, right. Yeah. They have footage, and it's because a lot of it is like these camera angles from security cameras. Like he's got cameras hidden inside Tiger's house, stuff like that. We get those angles, sure. That footage is not from those. That is they use the footage that we get watching the movie,
right,
during his fight with his master.
Yeah,
and again, you might disagree. This might be where you ask that first year film 101 question.
Is that purposeful?
Yeah, essentially, right? Like, is that just this movie not necessarily being sloppy, but making do with what they have and doing something that 99% of the viewing audience wouldn't notice at all, right?
Sure.
But here's the thing. I'm going to come back to that scene where his application got denied, okay? He has that match in the competition where he busts the dude up and it's not in the spirit of Tai Chi, goes back to the office. His application has been rejected because they saw that fight and he wants to preserve this temple. If that's the spirit of Tai Chi, then no, it can't happen. Right. On his way out of that office, he shoves the camera out of the way.
He does. Yeah.
The camera, Keanu, and I know we're bad at saying character names when we mean actors or vice versa, grabs the director's camera at the end of that. And
I didn't take that though as him grabbing the camera. Like I get what you're saying in that respect, but I don't imagine it like that. To me, that's just like it's representative of a door that he's opening.
Sure. Yeah, no, and this is again to that guy who asked that question. This is the thing. You make arguments about all these things.
Sure.
To me, it fits too well to not be purposeful, but here's my argument is that the fact that it happens there kind of at the end of that, when yes, during the movie he's supposed to be at his low point,
yeah,
it's right before he makes that call, give me a fight. Now he's fighting to fight, he's kind of given in, but the fact that he grabs that camera and shoves it out of the way, it's almost like he's tired of that storyline.
Sure.
It's like, you know what, this doesn't matter anyways, even though his motivations gel within the movie itself.
Well, I kind of
he just shoves it out of the way, because after that, all we have is the art form. All we have is power versus control, Tai Chi versus...
I mean, I even like the idea, like, I kind of like the idea of taking it a step further, that he extremely fourth-walled it to the point where it was his version of the frustration going, get out of my way. You have now your camera, like the audience, you were in my way and now you're not anymore. Now it's just me. I like that idea. That's good.
Okay. I can, it's all right.
I like it. I will tell you that I think the two issues that I have with both of those things is that they feel out of place. Like it's like an idea that needed it to happen maybe one more time to feel more purposeful.
It's the only time it happens in the entire movie. Like I said, I had to do a bit of work here, you know?
Right. No, and it's a weird artistic choice to do that. Just like, was it a thought? Maybe that was an early shot scene and they were trying it out and then they just left it in because it looked good, but they didn't follow through with it anywhere else. Or maybe it is just that's, you know, Keanu had a thought and went, that's that. I want to do that.
Or maybe he's a first time director, or maybe, I mean, it's not perfect. No. Again, I'm doing a bit of the footwork here, but you definitely don't do something like that out of nowhere. You know, like the least probable explanation in my head is that Keanu's like, you know what would be cool right here? Just grab the camera on your way out. You know, it's like, that's what I don't believe happened no matter what type thing.
Sure.
But in any event, the police story does wrap up. I feel like this was tied into that somehow, or like we were talking about it. But yes, it wraps up as perfunctorily as it made its way through the film. You know, they did enough to have it be there, and that part of the story is over. Again, doesn't really matter because now we have the whole rest of the film, which is because Keanu escapes when Tiger eventually goes to the cops. They're on his side. They do the bust. Keanu escapes.
But
so at that point,
but we're glossing over a great fight here where with Iko Ue, and I feel like it just needs to be talked about a little bit because
go
because
it's a non-fight almost.
So
really.
That's exactly why it's so great. It's fun because we're at a point now where Tiger has taken the step back. He's recognized that things have gone way overboard and he's gone overboard. And now he's swung the pendulum back to the other side where instead of fighting whatsoever, he refuses to fight. And we've got this whole huge crowd of people watching and all of these people paying attention across the world. And you have this amazing fighter coming at him with all these crazy moves. And Tiger refuses to fight. It's all parrying. It's all dodging. There's very little, there's no
flow.
Riposte. There's a lot of flow.
That was the word I would use.
No, you know what? Thank whoever got you hooked on that one. And it's a great fight because we get the entirety of Tiger, like we're finally at Tiger kind of ready to ascend to the full Man of Tai Chi. Mm-hmm. And it's his lack of fighting that makes him the Man of Tai Chi. Yeah. And then during that fight, that's where the cops show up and they run Keanu Reeves off, who
does he swim out of there?
He does.
I think? Is that him swimming?
Yeah, he dives off. And I love this. The perfunctory, again, it's a great word because it's totally true. It's the cops show up. They find the superintendent cop. Everybody goes back to all the cops go back to normal. The one Karen Mock is given a thumbs up and told, "Hey, good job on your she gave a thumbs up. Good job on your instincts on that one." She's like, "Thanks." And then she sees Tiger and she says, "It's all over. Nothing bad can happen now." Okay, thanks, cops. And now we're done with them. Only to go back to, hey, guess what's going to happen here? Tiger's going to have to fight him. Where? At the temple.
At the temple, yeah. So he goes back to the temple to...
Temple of Tai Chi.
Does he meet the master before he sees Keanu? He doesn't. The master sees him, but he makes his contribution at the temple and goes out the back door, surprisingly enough. And yeah, Keanu walks up in like the most... what's the... Is that the...
The spaghetti western. No, that's
spaghetti. Good, the Bad.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah.
Which has a trilogy name, which I should have. Fistful of somethings. Fistful of dollars. Fistful of people. Fistful of.
It's the Man with the No Name trilogy, but
there's there you go. That's what was it actually. The standoff here being between Keanu and Tiger, and yes, is the final. And when I said there's two fights in this movie that are against people less skilled than Tiger, this is the other one. And honestly, I don't think it's handled quite as well. I've seen Keanu be good. Like in The Matrix, I think he's pretty darn great, regardless.
Yeah.
It shows a little bit here. I mean, he's just a tall, slower dude, and that's just what he's also doing the whole thing in like jeans and a leather jacket. So
he is. I also, but you know what I love about this is this is a great fight, and I'm going to break down for you why. Frame by frame, every picture.
Breakdown.
Every frame a picture. Wait, every picture a frame. Every frame a painting.
Nobody
That's
knows
what it is.
Okay.
So this is a great moment. You're right in terms of just pure skill. You can totally see in every respect that, yeah, Tiger's definitely working to make this probably look better than it would if you didn't have somebody like Wu Ping and quality people here. But I think this actually works really well. And I think that Wu Ping made decisions here to have Keanu Reeves be slow and be lumbering for a number of reasons, because we've seen Keanu even recently. He's fast.
Oh, that's
this
true,
is
actually.
not him being fast at all. He's quick when he needs to be, but this is a great example of Keanu Reeves being the full embodiment of what Tiger was striving to prove, that it's power. Power is the only thing. It's all about, every time he hits Tiger, it is hard. There is oomph behind it. When he kicks him, there's oomph behind it, but there's no skill to it. That's not right. It's not skill. There's no,
I get what you're saying though.
But there's no, like that's all there is. And Tiger has to fight that. And it's like the literal fight between what
he's fighting himself.
Yes. Tiger Chen is Keanu Reeves.
No, you're right. And honestly, I don't,
so in that context, if you think about it that way, I think it works. But your point is super accepted. Like it's a valid criticism, because that still is like, it's tough.
Well, I should be talking about two different things here, because yes, you're talking about a conscious decision and I'm talking about cracks in the wall a little bit. And I think probably I glossed over some of that because I thought I was seeing, slow Keanu, but you're right. Totally makes sense. And honestly, that fight is still worth it, because also incorporated into it are all of Danica. I do like his name in here, because it's like basically Danica, and you're like, okay, let's go, Danica.
Come on, Danny.
But all of his ethos is laid bare, though, and it's not like, oh, I was in it for the money. It's not like any of that. It's to the nth degree. I knew you had it in you. I knew you were a killer all along, and I'm willing to stake like
his life on it over and over again. He catches Tiger in a position where he could easily kill him, holds him there, and says, "Show me."
He wins by dying. It's the ultimate stupid bad guy.
It's a Pyrrhic victory.
I'll take your word for it. He wins if he dies. It's stupid. It's glorious. It's perfect. And also it's wrong, because here we have Tiger, in full form. He does get stabbed by Keanu, but has completely accepted his master's teachings. And we see actually has the skill. It was just a conscious decision, that he couldn't control. He was more into power, and turns around, does the wind punch, and knocks Keanu back far enough and hard enough that, he stumbles, but also dies from it. And the fact that Keanu was so invested in having him take his own life to prove him right, and have that still be wrong, because, and again, I might be getting into it, but this is what I think.
Get into it.
It cuts to the master approvingly, puts his hand on his shoulder and walks him out. But also it then does a completely proprietary, probably, yin yang dissolve. Did you catch that?
I did. And I kind of wondered, did I miss a first one?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure, again, this is another instance
Why would there not be a second one? Because it's only yang? Or
it goes
only yin? Which one is which?
Well, this is why I like that, though. It's yin and yang in the same dissolve. That's
Yang.
the thing.
His name is Master Yang.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So never mind.
Okay.
Got it.
Probably should have caught that. So Tiger's the yin.
We just figured it out.
I'm going to butcher this too, probably also. Here's the thing. The whole point never was about if he takes the life, Keanu wins. The whole thing was about balance, and the whole thing about balance is not opposites, right? It's not that by killing, he espouses the same exact belief as Keanu's character.
Sure.
It was that Keanu couldn't see beyond black and white. He couldn't see the actual balance, because yin and yang, again, if I'm going to butcher this correctly, isn't about opposites. It's about balance.
Correct.
And
that's my understanding too.
Okay. All right. See, we've done it.
We're together.
Tiger reaches that balance, accepts that balance, and it doesn't preclude Keanu's death.
No, and why?
In my
And
head.
no, I agree with you 200%. Because why would it? Like throughout all of it, the end result of that fight is going to be one of two things: you kill him or you die, right? Like, I mean, that's not a choice. There's no decision there. He's not a monk to where he won't ever fight, right? He has to make a choice, but to live in the balance of life and death and understand, like he has now. He's gone to both extremes.
We did
It's
it.
good stuff. Yeah.
We
By
did
the
it.
way, I'm not gonna lie. I'm blown away that you've not heard the phrase Pyrrhic victory.
I have heard it. I just don't think I ever.
It's the concept of like
I've used it.
you won the battle but lost the war, right? Like you have you've inflicted such in your victory. You've received such a devastating toll that it basically was a defeat.
Now I know it and will use it.
You
I'm
know,
gonna use it when I go inside. It's gonna be great.
you're gonna tell your kid, nice Pyrrhic victory, idiot.
Is that a Pyrrhic victory you're wearing?
The lovely Pyrrhic victory you're wearing. Did you get those at Sears?
Man of Tai Chi. I would give it a nice round, great 1,000,000 stars.
Out of 1,000,003.
Great, love it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But not so great that it doesn't have a piece of trivia.
Oh, what kind of
here?
stupid trivia can we get?
So it's not so stupid, and actually one thing I didn't actually get to mention with this film in coming to the end of it, and especially that final fight with Keanu, was his directorial signature. I think in producing a movie that was very concerned with balance, yin yang, stuff like that, I think it's perfectly suited to Keanu, who has this very, again, we talked about it at the top of the show, not just laconic nature about him, or even just way of speaking.
He is the Orange Cassidy of actors.
Yes, yeah. So I think the movie lent itself to his directing, and also I think he excelled at giving us a movie that was very kind of to the point and symmetrical or balanced. And anyways, it just seems like Keanu talking in cinematic form.
You talking Keanu talk to me?
What also seems like that are a lot of the trivia things, from which again is probably because it was taken from an interview from him somewhere, somehow. This isn't necessarily bad trivia like the other ones have been. It's just probably all the guy had to work with, and it's still very Keanu-esque.
He very much needed to make a post on the internet. Like,
Again,
I
that's
had to
probably
make a
most of these,
post
but-
on the internet to make sure people know I'm here and I like Keanu.
That's pretty good. That could run head to head with this one that says, quote, Keanu Reeves was having a hard time finding a mask he'd like and use, but when costume designer Joseph Polro presented the quote unquote black one, I don't know why black is in quotes because it's actually black. It's not like a
black doesn't exist in this dojo.
It's not a matter of opinion, really. He was very happy with it. End quote. Yeah, and I could just see Keanu saying that. Yeah, when it came to the mask, I wasn't sure, and then he found one I liked, and we used that one that I like.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Reeves.
Exactly. No, exactly. I always imagined things like that. Like it is.
What's the story behind the mask? Oh, we looked for it, and then I liked it, and then we used it.
I was shown a number of masks, and I didn't like them. And then, and then our costume designer went, "Hey, Keanu, how do you feel about this mask?" And I said, "Excellent." Do you think he says that word ever anymore? You think he's like,
Can he? I mean, he should.
Whenever he does to some weird people like get some like weird tinge, they're like, he's done it.
Yeah, Alex Winters. Yeah, that's who it is.
Alex Winters goes like he pulls
He's
up
done it again,
the air
yeah.
guitar.
Yeah,
They
he
do
does
it
the
in
air
real
guitar,
life. Yeah.
Okay, glad we
I love it.
figured that out.
Well, what monster movie are we gonna do next week?
Oh, are we doing a monster movie?
No, I'm asking you what monster. It could be monster like, whoa, that's a really big blockbuster movie, or it could be a movie about monsters, or it could be a movie where you're like, you are a monster for suggesting this.
Wow, so many options.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh,
Do you have something?
I have nothing.
I mean, the first movie that comes to mind is Multiplicity, but that's neither here nor there.
I don't remember if you've seen this or not. I feel like you have. All the President's Men?
There's only one way to tell. Oh, sure. I've had that queued up for some time. We talking about the original?
Yeah,
or-
definitely.
Okay.
Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford for sure.
Yeah, I've had that and the remake queued up, which I don't think Wait, maybe I have. Oh no, I'm thinking of
Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, how did you know that?
Because those two movies are like inseparable to me.
Okay, that's weird.
They both. So we watched All the President's Men in one of my lit classes, and that teacher was like, because we were talking about the book, and the teacher he was like, yeah, and now on our day off we're gonna watch this other movie. And we watched that. And I've never been able to separate the two. And he's like, he's like, this could be real.
All the President's Men. I love it. This is it's 60s. What you already said, the people in it. Now you can find it. There you go.
1976.
There you go.
It definitely, the movie had to come out after the situation occurred, which was in 1972. So, and then Woodward and Bernstein had to write the book.
That's right. So I queued this up after I saw the Most Dangerous Man in America documentary, I believe.
That's what it was, because we talked about it. I know we talked about this before.
Right, yeah. All right, cool. Sure. Knock another one off the list. Yeah. Hey, this is probably somehow appropriate for the time in which we all live.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's some relevancy here.
All right. So that'll be next week. Come back for that. Again, you can find us podcast at bookclub4movies.com or Facebook and Twitter, where you can tell us everything you want about all your politics. Great. Matt, do you have anything else you want to talk about for the rest of the show?
I do. I've got one movie.
Cool, because that's probably for the better.
All right. Little movie lately, trying to go through some of Beth's blind spots.
Ooh. You watched Blind Spot? Really?
Yeah, actually.
Sorry, that's not even called that. It's called Blind Side. Dang it.
It's called The Blind Side, and I don't care what you say. I love it. I like that movie a great deal. I like the whole thing. I know it's complete nonsense, and I know that the guy who it's about was like, yeah, it's not really, but it's all right. You like Sandy, what's her name?
Yeah, all
Bullock?
I remember is I think Sandra Bullock won that year instead of Carey Mulligan.
She definitely should not have.
Yeah,
won
I think it was
that year,
whatever. Yeah,
for sure. But it's a cool movie, and I do like it. However,
wait, is that the one?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, we filling in some Joel and Ethan Coen spots.
Yes. How could I forget?
We watched Miller's Crossing, which. Just a great cast: Gabriel Byrne, Marcia Gay Harden, John Turturro, John Polito, Albert freaking Finney, killing the game.
Oh, it's a Coen Brothers movie, you say?
Steve Buscemi, right? Yeah, which means, oh wait, you mean the dialogue is excellent at all times, and wait, it does have some biting humor in it, even though it's a deathly serious movie. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this is the weird Coen Brothers movie, which there's probably more than I should admit. Meaning like 2 or 3 that I have not seen. So regale me.
Yeah, this one is an excellent movie. It's Prohibition era. Gabriel Byrne is kind of he works for Albert Finney, and Albert Finney is kind of in a back and forth with these other guys, and so we find out that Gabriel Byrne is kind of working multiple angles here to try and keep everybody going without people necessarily going into huge war, and it all kind of ends up revolving around John Turturro's character, who's only in the movie for 10 minutes.
That's all you need.
It's too much quality, honestly, on screen.
Otherwise it's a Transformers movie, and then you're like, oh.
And then where's Shia?
Come on.
That's it. Joel and Ethan Coen direct Shia, and that's when I kill myself.
Dude, a Coen Brothers Transformers movie?
I end my life on that day. That is, I will virgin suicides myself, basically. Pick one of the 5.
I think watching a Coen Brothers Transformers movie might just of natural causes kill the viewer.
I hope it would. But we find out that really the easy out here would have been for Albert Finney just to kill Turturro's character, but he won't, because bond is word is bond, all that stuff, and so it's this really great back and forth where we're focused totally on Gabriel Byrne and whether or not they're gonna find out and they're gonna murder him, and it's just a terrific film. It's gorgeous. It's Coen Brothers through and through. The humor's there. There is a moment with Frances McDormand, but I can't help but wonder if there was either she was not available for the whole movie or something else, because she easily could have played Marcia Gay Harden's role. And Marcia Gay Harden's great. She
Sure, you hate her guts because of The Mist, but yeah, no, that's fine.
I really can't stand that woman. I just see her face and I just see Reverend Carmody or Mother Carmody, and I just want to strangle her with her own intestines. It's just so aggravating. Oh, I hate those characters, man. Like she's up there where
I'm sorry.
It's really rare. Like, I don't see her a lot, which is why I probably still hold that grudge against her, because it did take me a number of movies to get past Tim Roth. Okay. I really hated him viscerally for many years because of Rob Roy.
After the Hulk?
Yeah. Oh, you were the worst abomination. You were the abomination.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. After what movie for Tim Roth?
Rob Roy. He is.
Oh, right.
He is just infuriating in that movie. Like,
he does a good infuriating, Tim Roth.
He really can. Again, telling you, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. He's infuriating for all the right reasons.
Oh, that's a show we were looking at some point.
Yeah,
too,
we should do that.
Ooh, can we even? Oh man, I just thought of doing something Shakespeare related, and it
thankfully it's Tom Stoppard, so it's not.
Yeah, I know, but obviously, yeah, it doesn't make it any better, honestly.
Which, by the way, hilariously, because you're familiar with Stoppard, there's I've been watching a lot of Critical Role, like I listen to it just podcasts of it, because it's entertaining for me, and at one point they're like in an earlier game, the like 4 out of the 6 of them are going back and forth with this it's not pre-written, it's just them talking, and one of them stops and goes, "When the hell did this game become written by Tom Stoppard?" And I lost it, because I have not thought of that, like I thought of him in forever outside of Rosencrantz, and the concept of Tom Stoppard writing a D&D campaign is just endlessly delightful to me.
Wow, that also seems really, really appropriate.
It would be.
That seems like a perfect fit.
I want him to write a module or something with specific dialogue, please, Tom Stoppard.
This Tom Stoppard moment brought to you by what we were talking about. Oh, Miller's Crossing. So it's good.
Yeah, it's real good. It's great Coen brothers, top tier. Okay. But I want to keep going on the Coen brothers with her. She hasn't seen A Serious Man. She hasn't seen The Man Who Wasn't There. She hasn't seen Intolerable Cruelty, which
that's the other one I have never seen for sure.
I go back and forth on.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
it's not my favorite. I seriously, I think it's maybe the weakest of. It's between that and Burn After Reading are, I think, the weakest that they've done. And
I have seen Burn After Reading.
Again, it's just not. It's no Miller's Crossing.
We could do another Coen Brothers show. We did. What did we do? Did we do Hail Caesar? Did we do a show on that?
We did do Hail Caesar.
Or did I just watch that?
No, we did it.
Okay.
Because we talked about the craziness of Hollywood and how they were able to affect it very well.
Doing another Coen Brothers show at this point is as intimidating as anything Shakespeare or Tom Stoppard related. So,
well, good. We'll get to that then.
Yeah. I've only got some quick stuff here. Most of it anecdotal. So,
what do you got?
So, with my daughter having to, over here in California, or in my specific sector here of California, I
like that you have a
she's
sector.
Not, there's, yeah, sorry.
Green Lantern Sector 2415.
Yeah, is that it? Am I referring to geographic locations by their comic book definition? She is not going back to school, but she also doesn't have any independent study options, which doesn't really make sense with what I'm about to say next, given that she will be receiving some sort of a curriculum from a teacher of sorts. But to augment that, I've tried to show her a documentary a week. We're only 2 weeks into this. And for that reason, I haven't necessarily brought them into the show, also because I don't know, so the first one we watched was Super Size Me.
Yeah, sure.
Which is, it's fine. It's great. And it's kind of right at that bubble where, filmmaking was becoming so accessible and tolerances, I feel like, were becoming such that, a standard definition movie made obviously on a camcorder can go to Cannes or Sundance or wherever it went and hit, that type of thing. But it's good. It's better than even that. It does a really good job of, communicating some important concepts by way of a guy in a handlebar mustache that eats only McDonald's for a month straight. So
yeah, no, it sounds like a great life, honestly.
it's good. No, not that part. The movie.
Every time I've watched that movie, I thought, I could do that. And then I thought, should I? And I thought, yes. And then I thought, would I? And that's where I said no. And why? I don't want to spend that money.
It's as good a reason as any.
Nothing to do with my stupid heart or whatever other idiot organs my dumb body
after
has.
this movie, McDonald's is healthy now, so whatever.
That's true.
I mean,
so and they have a dollar menu with all of the stuff that made him die.
Did you know? Did you know there's a Super Size Me 2?
Does he go to Burger King?
He apparently, this is all I know, takes on Big Chicken and starts a chicken restaurant of his own for a little while or something.
I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just last year, I think it came out.
I did not watch it. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. In any event, the last week we watched Catfish, which
sure,
admittedly less educational.
No. I think there's something there.
There absolutely is. I mean, yeah, we had the part of this is afterwards we have our big long talk with her about what did you learn and all this, and
oh my gosh,
this time it was talking with strangers on the internet and how they could be fake and you can too type thing, whatever. So I in fact, these are somehow two movies to talk about back to back when I speak of, on that bubble of kind of homemade documentaries type thing, because Catfish takes that and freaking runs with it as far as the filmmaking goes. Like they are, you want to say not concerned at all when and where they shoot this thing, which might have been the case. I mean, the whole documentary starts as something completely different. It's kind of got the Tiger King thing going for it. Like it didn't start out to make a thing about Tiger King. It just happened to him.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I always thought that was not even a real documentary. I thought it was all actually a setup.
No, Catfish.
That was real.
I hope not. It cannot be. No, it's got to be real. It's got to be real because okay. I will look it up. 99%.
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But I for some reason thought that years later after it came out, they like it was
okay. Well,
that it was not real. But again,
stay tuned for next week when I actually look stuff up on the internet before I talk about a movie.
Maybe it's just because I'm thinking of the TV show, which is based on that, but I don't know what the TV show is.
Don't get me started on the TV show.
I know it's on MTV, so it can't be good.
Might be my guiltiest pleasure of all time.
We are going to have a TV VB discussion focused solely on that.
I haven't seen it for a bit. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about that.
Hey, I love the Catfish. There's this guy that I am casually into, I guess. I love the stuff he does and especially the idea behind it. His name's Casey Neistat. You ever hear about him?
Yeah.
I've got a friend that swears by him, and honestly I do like his stuff, but I also like that he has an ethos about him that you wouldn't readily gather, and it's this like just shoot it mentality, like, which appeals to me because I tend to overproduce things and it does take me a long time sometimes to do things. In fact, small plug for myself, I haven't been talking about the stuff I've been doing kind of back on the Zero Hit Points channel.
Yeah, it's good.
That's kind of purposefully low. Oh, did you see? I went by. You said it was good.
Yeah, that's real good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so, but I have to keep it purposefully low tech, or I know I'm just going to overdo it and it's never going to come out and it's going to become this thing that I don't want to start doing. Whereas right now I'm looking forward to it. Anyways, go check that out. But
do it. It's good.
Casey Neistat, Catfish is an entire movie of this where they're just like, hey, do it, shoot it, possibly, or after the fact they created something out of it. I don't know. But they make a cohesive look and feel to it. Actually, no, they do a lot of stuff with Google Earth and other clips that they include and music and stuff like that. That it's almost that produced, not produced feel.
Sure.
Is pretty darn enjoyable. Yeah. You've never seen Catfish?
No, I watched it years ago. I haven't.
Yeah, okay.
That was a one and done for me. It didn't.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever would have gone back if it wasn't. Basically, I'm combing through all of the documentaries that I have, being like, okay, this would be good for her. This is fine for her. So
what's next? Because I got one for you that I think is interesting if you've never seen it. Exit Through the Gift Shop.
Oh, that might be.
Dude,
I think I've seen that. That's the Banksy one, right?
Banksy.
That's pretty deep too. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I have to wait a couple of years.
I think you'd be surprised because it's got a lot of interesting stuff that you can touch on that dovetails with Catfish because it's about people's identity. It's about the lie that goes into who they are. and it's about the artwork itself.
It's about the lie that goes into what art is, though. That's the part where I'm like, hey, Evelyn.
But all of that's like it's not. You're a kid, you do what you want, but I don't.
No. Yeah, you're definitely right. I think I'm just.
But I don't think it's going to be over her head in that respect. I think that there's going to be parts of it that won't click, but there's parts of it that wouldn't click for adults that don't. That are not. I think it's a super interesting.
Stupid people. It's all right.
Yeah, the dum-dums, the dum-dum idiots, dum-dum idiot butts. They're stupid butts and their dumb faces, and we're here to tell you how dumb your face is, stupid butt. But I think she might actually dig it because, like, it goes out onto the graffiti artwork, which is stuff that you have some background to. Banksy is interesting because you can also then point her to the fact that afterward you can say, look, nobody really knows, but here's who the grand consensus thinks Banksy is. And then you can play her Massive Attack music and she'll grow up to be way more awesome.
The fun thing about that movie too, honestly, is I could just never say any of that and it just functions like it's still a watchable movie if everything on there is true type, Yeah.
Like, no, it's a good, and that's the other thing that I think it would be interesting about it is because it's a documentary that is suspect on so many levels. Right. Which I think is also really great. Yeah.
It is a good compliment to Catfish. You're right.
I think it would be.
All right. I do have one more movie, but I don't think it's a quick discussion.
I'll be the judge of that.
Maybe we can talk about West Side Story some other day. With snaps. Yeah, we've caught a little bit of the musical bug since Hamilton. Maybe we'll bring that back. Yeah.
That's exciting.
But that's it for this week for Book Club for Movies, everybody. If you hung out, cool. Thank you. And we will be back next week with
All of the President's Men.
And so go watch that or just tell us about President's Men for that matter. And we'll bring it into the show as we always do.
We're all about all of the President's Men.
All of it. All inclusive. All of the presidents. All of the men, including the men of Tai Chi.
The men of the various folk of Tai, the they of Tai Chi, if you will.